Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday afternoon. Welcome to the Tpffkal show with Freddie Ewan, two-time GM of the year, current Pantheon Cup champion. We got a good show for you this afternoon. Hopefully tonight, things fell through a little bit to get the Gronkdonks on, but we're trying to get them on tonight. Trying to get two GMs on at once. Still trying to get this Rockthrowers guy on. He keeps saying he's too busy. He's too busy. He's too busy. Jimmy just, beat him up left and right, and the guys, I guess the guy's taking it, the guy's taking it. Prairie Dogs GM, who knows, auto draft set on, auto draft odds are now down to 1-1. Now it's $150 if anyone can get him on the show. $150 to you if you can get him on the show. Shake and Bake's going to be on next week. Hopefully get Zach on. We're trying to work on him. Chicken in the Cave, going to try to get him on too. Trying to get them all on, trying to get all the GMs on. Anyway, today, what we're going to go over really quickly is we're going to go over who's left on the board for the Tpffkal. Not a lot of guys left on the board. A lot of cap room people have, not a lot of guys left on the board. We look at the top five: Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Eckler, CMC, and Kels. Jefferson, Chase, Kels, all off the board. The two big running backs, McCaffrey and Eckler, are still on the board. So if you need running backs in the draft, this is going to be a heavy running back draft. Wide receivers are slim. Top rookie this year is Bijan Robinson. He's on the board. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver on the board. Doug could have kept him. Don't know why he didn't, but he released him. He's going to be going for a lot of money, I think, for guys that are looking for wide receivers. He is he's the one big wide receiver. A couple other wide receivers are there. Diggs did not get kept. I traded Diggs to Brian earlier in the year. He did not get kept. He's going to be on the board. Devontae Adams is another guy that's going to be on the board. So it's Diggs, Devontae Adams, and Cooper Kupp. The rest of the wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Amon St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Chris Higgins, Chris Olive. I think even Devontae Smith all off the board. Guys that are left, AJ Brown is on there. So there's really only about 3 or 4 receivers of the top notch, and really only one of the top notch that are going to be available. I think Cooper Kupp is going to go for a lot of money if you're going to want a star. If not, you're going to have to go wide receiver heavy. I know that Saquon Barkley's still on there. Tony Pollard's off the board, Nick Chubb's off the board, but then you got Josh Jacobs on the board, John Taylor's on the board. We're still going to see what's happened with him. Joe Mixon, Jamar Gibbs is going to be there. Calvin Ridley's off the board. There's even guys down there that are so it's going to be really hard to get your wide receivers. I think there's going to be a lot of heavy bidding for the wide receivers, and I think that the best thing that if you're drafting running backs is to really go undervalued too. Like if you can pick up, I have Eckler for $58 and McCaffrey for $57. If you can get those, you should be able to get those running backs for under if guys are really concentrating on getting the wide receivers, which they should. If you do not pick up wide receivers or keep wide receivers, you got to get on them ASAP, and you got to be prepared that you're going to be spending a lot of money on them. Quarterbacks, like we talked before, there's only 2 quarterbacks that are really up there. Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. James talked about this the other day too. There are some quarterbacks that you can grab. There's Kirk Cousins who threw some stuff. There's Danny Dimes who can throw the ball a little. Some guys that are serviceable. You can almost. But the other thing is that you got to remember is that there are a lot of GMs in this league that will draft that they're not going to run their entire roster with just one quarterback. Most rosters are going to have at least 2 quarterbacks. Some rosters are going to have 3. Some rosters are even going to have 4. So, picking up quarterbacks is going to be, and it's, I don't think necessarily you need a top-notch quarterback to win this league. I finished 3rd a couple years ago with, literally 8 different starting quarterbacks and just really played the matchups. But I do think it helps that you have a great quarterback, and the quarterback wide receiver connection. I think that the Josh Allen, Stephen Diggs connection really helped me out last year. Looking down, there's going to be a lot of value guys too. a lot of value guys that I think this was a very big offensive draft. So guys like, Robinson and Gibbs are probably not going to have any keeper value because they're going to go for so high. But there are some guys, particularly in the wide receivers, like, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnson, Nangaba. There's a lot of good tight ends there. The guy who was drafted by Buffalo, he's got a good chance to do well. So, really at the end, you're going to probably want to find those deep sleep keepers for, $1, $2. News today, too, is Jerry Jeudy's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks. The commissioner, Rich, decided to drop him using the rule. I have him at the wide receiver 20 for $19. Don't know what's going to happen with Jeudy exactly, but you're going to get an opportunity to draft him. So, hopefully in a couple of weeks he'll be all right. But like I said, you really gotta, those wide receivers are gonna fly off the board, and really once you get Cooper Kupp, it's gonna be, it's all downhill from there. I really look at there's really just Cooper Kupp, AJ Brown, and Devontae Adams, and that's really it when you get to top notch receivers. Jefferson's off the board, Chase is off the board, Kelsey's off the board, Tyreek Hill is off the board. CeeDee Lamb's off the board. Garrett Wilson is off the board. Amon St. Brown is off the board. Waddle's off the board. Metcalf is off the board. Olive is off the board. Higgins, I believe, is off the board. Going down, even more. Deebo Samuel's off the board. Calvin Ridley's off the board. Keenan Allen, I believe, is on the board. Christian Watson, I'm not sure. I believe he's on the board. I think DeAndre Hopkins might even be off the board. Then you get to Godwin, who's, Baker Mayfield's going to be throwing him the ball. So, taking a big step. So, if you don't have your wide receivers now, you got to get them. I think Terry McLaurin's on the board. I have him as wide receiver 27. Mike Evans is probably on the board. DJ Moore is probably on the board. Deontay Johnson. These are all guys that are like really, really like, they're not number one wide receivers. They might not be number two wide receivers in some cases, but those guys, I think, you're going to see people that are like, oh shit, I need another receiver, and they're going to be, wide receivers are going to be very highly valued in this draft, and running back should be very undervalued. You should not be spending a lot of money on getting a running back. You need to go after those wide receivers early and often, especially if you're not full. And I think only one player or maybe two players has a full 3 wide receivers as their keepers. I know I don't. So, I got to figure out some way to get, a couple good wide receivers. But anyway, that's the show for this afternoon. Hopefully I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I know everyone else is. It's going to be a great show if we can get the Gronkdonks on. Both Champ and Danny. It's going to be interesting because Champ can talk forever. Doesn't know a fucking thing about fantasy football, but he can talk forever. And Danny is a little bit more quieter, but knows a lot about fantasy football. So it's going to be an interesting conversation with those two. Neil, man, you got to get on the show. Robin's like going crazy. I mean, she's, Robin's going freaking crazy. I can't calm her down. She wants you on the show so bad. So, I mean, let's just do this, man. It's 15 minutes of your life. You can do it. You can do it, Neil. I know you can do it. I've been to Austin. There ain't a whole lot of shit going on in Austin. So you can get on the show, my man. All right? Let's do this. And Prairie Dogs, I don't even know if you're watching. I don't even know if the guy's alive. So hopefully the GM of the Prairie Dogs is alive. But anyway, I'll see everyone later tonight. This is Freddie Ewan, 2-time GM of the year, current Pantheon Cup champion. Hope you like this afternoon show. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.